I'm going to introduce you. So hello,
Yep.
everybody. It's great to have you here. I'm very grateful to have Xander Luberhuizen, who's going to be speaking about the story of stuff. So all about circular economy. So what's going to happen is I'm just going to hand over to Xander. He's going to speak for about 15, 20 minutes, and then we'll have an opportunity to do a Q&A session. Now, what I'd like you to do is just type your questions and any thoughts or anything you have into the chat. And then I will see how many questions we have and see how easy it is to get you on stage, because it can be difficult for people.
The first question is very good. What's the circular economy?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's a difficult one. I try to make something out of that.
Yeah. What we'll do is have the questions after, because I'm sure Xander will probably answer something along those lines in his talk. So pop stuff into the chat, and then I will either ask them or I will get you to come on stage and ask. So without further ado, over to you, Xander.
Okay, thank you, Alison. Welcome, everybody. The story of stuff. It's a project, but it's also really a story. It's a story about how we, in Apeldoorn, it's a municipality, not a big municipality, 160,000 inhabitants in the Netherlands, in the middle of the Netherlands, with a lot of forests. And we try to make something about our circular economy. And to do so, we have a project, and we call it the story of stuff. This is me, a circular economy project manager, so to speak. I do a lot of things, but this is one of the titles I have. And in this presentation, I have just 15 minutes, so I go a quick around through my slides. I want to tell you more about the municipality side. I want to give you a project overview and some learning and reflections, and then more. I think the learning and reflection will be in the chat, so that's no problem. Now, the first question was in the chat already. What's the circular economy? Now, the sustainable procurement and sustainable economy and sustainable procurement means that in addition to the price of products, services, or works, you also pay attention to the effects of purchasing on the environment and the social aspects. So it's a mouthful, we so say in the Netherlands. That means a higher reusability of products and materials, that future reuse is guaranteed, it's very important, and prevent value destruction. Now, so yeah, and this is actually the how it looks like. It's in Dutch, but I think you can manage energy transition, circular economy, and climate adaptation. So it is a dragon, and if you want to slay the dragon, you have to cut off one head, and then you still have got two to go. So you have to find or work a way around to make it manage. So it's pretty difficult if you want to work on one topic, as the topic of climate adaptation or CO2 reduction. You have to do it on different parts. And this is me. Governments may have to make other choices. You have to know there are 350 different governments in Holland, in the Netherlands, and everybody is holding their own tree. And if everybody is holding their tree, nobody is moving, and everybody has their own little world and their own little thing. And there are 350 people like me in all these cities. So it's quite ridiculous. We have to do something. We have to put the saw in the system. We have to cut down some trees. We have to make some movements. It's a transition, and everybody knows a transition, you have to do something. But as a circular project manager, I swim against the stream. And every time I do something, I also make mistakes. And failure is it comes a lot. Of course, I've got successes, and that's nice too. But failure, for me, it's a form of data collecting. So it's very important that you fail quickly and fail fast, because then you learn the most. It's very dangerous if you fail too slowly. Then you learn too slow. So we have to make quick changes, and we have to swim the current very fast, try something out. If it doesn't work, you can glide back into the current and find your little pool, and then you can find another way to face it again. So this is what I do. But connections are key, and especially in the circular economy. Circular is a network economy where you have to find your web. And one of the most special things is that the municipality and our government is the spider in the web. We pull the strings. together. It's taxpayers' money, and we have to be very careful with that. And we have to spend it very easily. Yeah, we spend it easily, but we have to spend it very efficient. One of the main benefits of working in a municipality is that we can't go bankrupt. So that doesn't mean you have to spend it all, but if you can't be bankrupt, then it's very you can have more risk. So feel quick and swift, so that you don't spend too much money and find your way in the difficult way of circular economy, energy transition, and climate adaptation. So yeah, we are the launching customer, so to speak, for every change that we have to do. One of the things is connecting supply and demand. I'm from the civil engineers, from the part of the city where we work on the public space, and we have to find ways to connect supply and demand. We now buy all new stuff, but if you look around, and maybe you can look at your window and you see everything is from concrete or from asphalt in the public space. Everything is already owned by us. So why are we buying new stuff? We have to find new ways to make from old stuff new stuff. So we have to connect supply and demand. But how does that work? How can we do that? Everything is tied tangled up, and it's very difficult. We need to surf the wave, because you probably feel a big wave is coming at you with all these transition from gas, oil, energy. It's very difficult to keep up standing. So we always say in our organization, it's you have to be a specialist. You have the specialist of being saving the world, and that's it's quite challenging to do that, but just keep on doing it, keep standing and saving the world, saving the world as well, saving the wave. This is me. I don't know if you know in the UK Wiki the Viking. It's a movie, and I'm always having plans and always thinking, and I've got an idea, and how can I do something? So what's my plan? I made a little sketch and drawing, and I think, if we do something with our materials, how can we reuse them? What are we doing now with them, and how do we move them around, and how do we put them? Which kind of organizations are involved? What are the stakeholders? How can we do something? And we need a marketplace, and we need something to distribute our new materials. We have to collect data. How does it tangle up? So I want to try something, and I applied for a grant, and that's very funny. If you have to apply for a grant in a municipality, normally it's the way around. People apply for a grant with the government, and now I did it. It feels quite funny, but it worked. I applied for the grant of the innovation budget of the digital government, and I managed to get it, actually. So I want to make a plan to reuse the materials in Apeldoorn's public space. And I wanted to do it not the whole space, just a little tiny neighborhood in a big neighborhood in Apeldoorn. I had a movie about it, but I skipped this one because of the time. Maybe if there's time, I can show you what my plan was. Dus how do we address the problem if you have a street and a neighborhood where you have to redevelop the whole public area because it's old, it's worn out, and you have to remove everything, and then you put all new materials. New materials you put in. What do you do with the old materials? So step one, you get organized. You have to know, just like my drawing, how are the dots connected? And besides that, in step two, action is needed. And the actions in these two steps, I want to show you how I did it. And for Tim, the circularity transition is not a technical problem. It's a people problem. It's a people between you and me. It's a problem in communication. It's a problem in our organization. And an organizational problem is always a people problem. So we have to fix it together. So all the techniques, all the things that we need to have a circular economy, they already exist. It's not a problem. But there's one thing that's very interesting, is service design. And service design, I don't know if you have ever encountered it, because it's a tool that can be very helpful to address the problems you have. And I use the service design services by Coast Service Design. It's a company in the UK, in Amsterdam. And we had a kickoff, a participations investigation. We set up a process journey, and we made a process journey workshop, and we had a land presentation, and that was quite a thing. And one of the first things we start is, what is the circular economy? Yeah, we have got the Ellen MacArthur Foundation butterfly, so to speak, and it looks very easy. Could be, yeah. It's linear, and then if you one of these leaves, then you'll be in circular. But how does it work in real life? Now, pretty simple. This is the subway in London. If you want to go to A to B, you have to figure out what the train you have to take, what time it is, and you have to know what kind of wagons and where it stops and where you have to shift. And it's more than an effort to get from A to B. And actually, it looks like this. Also the subway, probably. All our systems are interdependent, so they are very vulnerable. If it looks like a bomb. We have to cut the red wire or the blue wire. How can we figure out how the circular economy works? So that's not very helpful if you want to do something about it. In Apeldoorn, we had the problem, the story of stuff with the stakeholders is the municipality of Apeldoorn. The middle one is the municipality of Ede. And then we've got EME, Access Material Exchange, and Antea Group. That's a data managing store, and InfoFocus and Wegenscanners. And about these last ones, I want to tell you something more. The process we did is quite simple. We empathized with all stakeholders. You have to know what's the question behind the question. You have to know what they're doing. We create a visual overview of the total process, the process journey, and we created a new way of working with new tools, a new set of regulations, how we work together. And we simply identified the opportunities together. It's very important that you talk to each other. I said it was communication. And then you have rapidly prototyping. Go fast, fail fast, and then you have success. So keep it small, not too big. Empathy. It's a superpower. It's very funny. If I spoke to my colleagues in this project that I never spoke before, in the way they sit in the project, what their goals are, what their ambitions are. And one of my ambitions is I want to save the world. Yeah, I have high ambitions. I try pretty difficult to do this in one lifetime. But I think if I set my powers high, if my goals high, then I've got more leverage, and I think it helps. So we make everybody involved and feel heard. And that was very important, because there were a little bit frictions. Every organization has frictions. And if you speak that out in this project, then you can manage a good project. And that felt very good. Create empathy among the stakeholders. It was very funny to work with stakeholders within the municipality and outside the municipality, because if you work outside the municipality, then you are mostly a contractor that gets your orders from the municipality, and you do just what you have been told. But in which way do you think the municipality is clever enough to make the contract that clear, that the contractor knows what he has to do? Does he know? And we discovered that they often don't know. They do something because they are told to. and try to speak their language. That's quite funny because there was a mostly biblical language discussion about terms. What does this mean? What is the circular economy in your part of work, and what is it for me? And if you want to combine it to the same goal, maybe you got new definitions. It's quite funny to see how things for me were in the right perspective, for somebody else in another perspective. And it's very important when you start a project that you're already in the same on the same page. We made a visual overview, and this one is a very important one because it's a process journey of the story of stuff, and we put every stakeholder that was on the sheet there before. We spoke to them, and we put them on the map, and we had a discussion. And in this discussion, we made everybody give it a place to show them what their position was in the bigger system. If you know what kind of sand crumb you are in a big wheel, then you can stuck the whole wheel if you want. You can. It's so even the smallest parts could be very important. And if everybody know what his part in the project is, it will run smoother. So that was very important for us to make sure that everybody knows what his role in the project was, and that worked, and that made that overview. I'll show it again later. Make changes visible and discussable. So if you do that, what I'm doing then? How do you? Yeah, it's estafette in the Olympic Games. You have to give your other components the stick, and then he has to run. But if you have no agreement about how you deliver it, then you have a discussion. Maybe you throw it or you run all the way around. It doesn't work. So you have to train, you have to develop it, and create an overview for everyone around, so that everybody knows what you're doing and how you're doing that. And co-create, make new ways of working, how you do that journey, and that and the process journey will be worked. Now I'll show you the prototype and the test. So this is work. We worked in a MERO board, I don't know what word it is. It was very easy to work with. We built up this draft, and we put post-its everywhere, and we discussed with everybody. And it was in the middle of the Corona pandemic, so everybody was online. So we had to figure out another way to work together. So it was also very inventive and very helpful. So we made it looks like a swimming lanes or music. We composed our own project in time, so to speak. You can see here the dots. You see the dots are the greenish dots are the processes that we already know and how it works in time. Every step is a time, and everybody in the process has a role. So we connected all the dots. And then we discussed with each other where the chances are if you want to do something circular in the project. So where could you adjust your input to be more circular? And that are the open dots. And so you now know where in the project, in time and in place, and in which stakeholder is involved and has got the responsibility to act on that, what to do in an overview. And that helped very much. It gives everybody the knowledge, and this is pure service design. We didn't do anything yet outside. We now know what to do, where to do, and when, how. So this is our Metro, London Metro subway map. We now know how to travel. Now, step 2, action is needed. We're sitting behind the desk is nice, talking to you is very nice, but we need to do something. So how can we put the data of a material passport into action? Then you have to know that in 2030, 50% of all the materials in our municipalities have to be circular. In 2050, we have got to be 100. So we got now 9 years for 50, and I think we are halfway. Because I don't think we manage. But that's another problem for another day. We need a material passport. We need to know what are how the bricks or the municipality is built of. Where is the street made of? It's made of stone, of course. It's from concrete, yes. The sewage pipes, where are they made from? How old are they? We know everything from a car, but we don't know it from the street. It's very funny that we don't know that, because if you know everything, then you can act on that. So we wanted to build something. So we made a scan, and this is two scanning companies, exactly the same. They each are their competitors in the market, but I asked them both to step in this project. I paid them for that. I had the grant, so I had the money, so I could do it twice to learn, so that they also could learn from the question I had to say. The first thing they said to me, okay, we scan the roads, we try to figure out everything we want to know from the existing surface, but what do you want us to do? And I said, I don't know. You're the expert. I'm not the expert. Yeah, but you have to give me an order to do something. I can do everything, but that you have to pay for that. It's very inefficient if you have to do everything. I said, do everything. Put on all your notches, screws, bolts, I don't care. Figure it out. I need all the data you can collect. And afterwards, we have to sort it out. And then we have to look what is handy and what can we use and how can we use it. So it was quite nice. So this is how it looks like. The Wegen scanners and InfoFocus did their job, and they scanned the public area. And in the public area, you can see every different color, and every different color means that there is a difference in materials. And then you have to figure out on a 3D scan what the differences are in color or material use or whatever. So we have very much good data, and we got a sharp picture of what everything is in the public area. So this is another explanation of an example from what we have. And here you see the different colors, and that means the different depth of the thickness of the stones, the concrete stones that we had used they were in the public area now. So that was very handy to have. And if you do that a little bit more, then you get more coloring, you get more detail, and then you can have more data available. And if you put the data eventually in the data bank, GBI we call it, in the beheer system from the municipality of Apeldoorn, then you get something like this. This is how we look at our public area now. We added new information on the information that we already had. And we found out that scanning actually made it more in detail what we had than we had before. So our data bank, this is our material passport, in fact, is more in detail than we ever had. So we could now steer. We can now do something. We can give it a try to make it more circular. But how do you connect this? I thought it was more Tinder. Swipe to the left and swipe to the right. If you want something, you say yes. If you don't want something, you say no. And Tinder is inspirational because it's different than another marketplace. Tinder is a marketplace. You put yourself on it, and then you have to wait that somebody comes along and say, hey, I like you, and then I can get you. So it's matching supply and demand. If you do it by eBay, then you put an ad on it, and then you have to wait to figure out if somebody comes along and think, hey, I want that rock or stone or furniture in the public space. I want that. If you've Tinder, then you go look actively. You find out what you need. And if you have a match, and then you look at each other, if it's a good match, and then you make a contract and agreement, and then even when the stones are not available yet, you have to start breaking them out. Then you already know where they have to go. Probably another city or another.
Sander.
Yes.
Hurry up.
Sorry, I'm hurry up. I'm 3 slides clear. This is eventually is this the marketplace we show here with pictures. It's the traditional one, and if you Tinder here through, then you can find your materials you want. But putting it all together, I want you just show a little bit what we made. We made it a little video. So this, don't. So this was the end. So don't be hindered by the missing structures. Make your own. That was one of my goals. And take the shortcut. And don't worry, it will be fine.
So Sander, how successful has that been? The whole kind of swipe system for it?
We're still working on it. We are now having an API with our existing database, and they can actually look in our database, and if we mark down the areas that can be sold or be handled, can be reused, then they are going to look for new ways to reuse it.
Cool.
Yeah, we're working on it. But just keep it in mind, this is one project in the total of municipality of Apeldoorn with a few crazy civil servants, and we've got a long way to go to have the whole municipality on the same page.
But it's a pilot scheme, really, isn't it? So that you're trialing it.
I don't want to use the word pilot because if you do a pilot, then you do it one time and then never again. You have to evaluate, and then it's off. So it's very important that it's not a pilot and that we are really want to try to do this. It's very important.
It's a first step. How about that?
Yeah, it's better. That's better.
If you can stop sharing your screen, then I'm going to see if I can get some of the questioners onto the screen. So Karen Adden, do you want to? Oh no! You can come back on. No, you stay on the screen. Just stop sharing. You're not getting away that easy, Stan.
Okay, look.
We're going to try it and see if it works. Karen Adden, if you can, it says ask to share my audio and video up the top right, just wait on the black bit of the screen. If you click on that, then I'll see if I can add you to our screen so you can ask the question. Or I can just ask the question for you. But let's see if it works. Maybe it doesn't. I'm not getting it. Okay, I have tried in the last one too. So we have a question from Cara. It says, how do councils embed the circular economy in policies and actions? So what is your best answer to that one then?
Yeah, they'd write it down, but if you write it down, it probably gets on a big pile of other written down statements, so that doesn't work. So we have to do it from bottom up, and this is what we did now with the grant, of course. Otherwise, there was no money, and a little bit naughty and a little bit on the edge, and otherwise it doesn't work. And it has to be fun. Work has to be fun, and if you want to try to save the world, we have to do something. Think outside of the box, and this is what we tried. Think outside of the box, and maybe somebody will write it down. Then I hope it will be it will be policy then.
Yeah, and I think that what you said, way you did it with the whole kind of bringing everyone in to map what they do, and then to see where those kind of those areas and times is really crucial. And using something like MERO it looked like a good way to do it.
It helped very much to emphasize everybody to know what they're doing and think 2 steps ahead. Instead, they are then you have to say, sorry, you're too late in the project. You can do with can come your idea or your thing cannot we're too far ahead in the project. So the disappointments they're very they're still there, but they're less.
That's great. And we have an anonymous person saying, how have you found implementing circular economy to sectors where single waste is common, such as PPE and social care? So how do you deal with those? I mean, particularly at the moment, there's so much of this PPE stuff that's going, it's just singular.
What is the PPE stuff?
It's like protective, it's like protective, like the gowns and the masks and all the rest of it.
How do you, how help? What was the question again?
How can you kind of embed circular economy when you've got this kind of waste stream that is singular?
If it's a singular waste stream? Yeah, that's a difficult one, because I think you have to prevent that you ever have that kind of waste stream. That is the circular way. The MacArthur Foundation had the nice butterfly. It's pretty difficult to explain, but if you say it's I've got three things. What I think it's the circular economy is to prevent, recycle, and reuse. So prevent for me is the highest step. Is prevent not even happening that it's necessary. So if you have single-use things, don't buy them.
Yeah, think of alternatives.
Yeah.
And Martin Elliott had asked, how has the mineral industries reacted? How who really need or want you to use single use?
They're probably in shock, because this is disruptive. Because I say, this is my material, don't touch it. I want you to do something with my materials and make something out of it. So it's I don't have to buy new ones anymore in the future. And even I can say, I want to borrow your factory, and I bring my own materials. I want to borrow the factory and your employees. And could you make this material to something new? And I buy you, and I pay for the effort that you put into, but it's still mine. So it's all different point of view what you want to do. And I think that's necessary. If you want to change the world and you have to do something about it, then you have to find other ways.
No, that's really good. Yeah, exactly. It's thinking outside the box and doing it. It's a concept of ownership.
Make a lot of mistakes.
Yeah. And that's why it's good to do it small and then grow from there. So you kind of make mistakes in the first step quickly, as you say, and it doesn't have so much cost impact to then be able to go on. So Caroline Egan says, can you give a brief practical example of what you have done in a particular area?
What we now have done in the particular area is to find matches of the concrete stones that come available in a few months, and not and just make the whole contracting of the when the lorries and the cranes are on place and they're digging out all the sand and the gravel and then we are too late. So what we're now doing is to find out what we plan to do with the materials that are available in the future. So that is what we now do, finding this match, so that the contractor does not have to think and worry, or that we do not want to. He has to do his labor, his his thing where he's good at. Everybody has to do what he's good at, and don't put extra things in it.
Make
So
it easy.
make it easy for everybody and make it, yeah. That's the question.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
good.
the
So
answer. Yeah.
Tim Podesta's asked, what example do you have of it working at scale and distance, i.e. reuse of bricks? So how can you scale that up?
By at least have that marketplace, then you have got at least maybe the surroundings of Apeldoorn. You don't want to travel a lot with these materials because that's highly inefficient. So you have to use them in a small circle. But if every municipality has their own small circle, then you combine all these circles. Then you've got a large scale reuse platform for these materials. So it have to grow from inside and not from high over from the government, for instance. So we try to establish more kind of a platform.
And have you had success in that? Are there other municipalities coming on board?
Yeah, the municipality Ede is on board, is also on board on the grant. So they are copying what we are doing. So we are making our mistakes, so they can learn from our mistakes and they can do it even better. And from that, we hope, that more communities will come in and join.
It's about communication, isn't it? Just getting it out there.
All communication. Yeah.
So I have a question. You're saying about the 2030, 2050 targets. Are they coming from the Dutch government?
Yes.
And so there's quite a lot going on, I know, in Amsterdam and in other areas where basically they're saying to contractors who are making new developments that you have to use reusable, or you have to reuse materials.
Yeah.
To what extent are you doing that in Apeldoorn, like in relation to planning, and how does that all tie in?
We first have to make a system workable and operational in this small scale. And if we have this in small scale, we can easily scale up, and then we have the whole municipality working on this scale. So this is more or less a proof of concept that the idea is working.
Cool. So Barbara Masters says, a major issue in recycling and reusing any material is dealing with contaminants. Have you had experience of how to deal with this when trying to use? Who bears the cost?
We do. The taxpayer have to bear the costs because it's our material. If it's contaminated, then it's our problem. It's our material. It's the responsibility of the product owner, and I have to be very careful with that because we got another grant agreement with a European city, and then we noted that in Denmark there are a lot of PCBs in concrete, and the PCBs, they leak out of the windows, the plastic windows in the concrete, and if the demolition building, the materials are contaminated with PCBs, and they sell it just in Holland. They bring it over here. I said, no problem. Nobody knows about it because we have no regulations. We have got a problem not. So we're not investigating on that problem. So this is something you hear in the project. So it's quite funny. So the contamination is something you have to be keen on.
And so, Sanders, would you say, is that kind of, are you taking that information to the Dutch government saying, hey, look, if we want to do this, you want us to get to these targets, and you need to make sure that the supply.
I have to pay for that. No. I have to have if there is an opportunity, I have to bring it in steps on the right track. And I don't know who to talk to about that. Legislation, or I don't know who's the important people there who could do something about it.
I think it's really important that it all links up, because as you say, if they want, it's all about the unintended consequences and thinking about how you can do it so that you facilitate as a central government, local governments being enabled to do this sort of thing.
I'm so small in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
So yeah. Don't make it too big.
Yeah, I know. It's true. I mean, yeah. So Ian Kerr says, are you also thinking about the circular economy for nutrients? from food to sewage to fertilizer and back to food.
Yeah. We even think about our biomass. How can we make our biomass more circular? One of the things we do is now we compost it. Composting is nice, but it's a lot of CO2 emissions with composting. So now we're trying to do something different. If we could do something about with biochar, and another grant, Interreg agreement, we are working with biochar with the UK, Belgium, and England, and Germany. It's a very interesting product, because if you make biochar, and if charcoal, for the people who don't know what biochar is a form of charcoal, very pure charcoal. It's the C from CO2. It's carbon. So if you can collect this carbon, then you can reuse the carbon in all sorts of products, even toothpaste. I've got toothpaste on my dresser for my children that brush their teeth with black toothpaste. They think their teeth are getting whiter by the, okay, have fun.
Yeah, I just put something in the chat because in Aberdeenshire, there the local authorities put all the municipal food waste, so all from households and from commercial, to Keenan's, and who's a commercial recycler, and then that they create the compost, and then that goes onto the local field. So that's a really good example of circular economy.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we also have, let me see, have we got anything more? I'll go. I'm dotting between. I'm dotting between the Q&A session and the chat session. Okay, do you use sorting on site or at a depot?
That's a good question. We have now 2 new depots because of this project. Somebody had a vision and said, "Hey, we need depots if we want to do something with it." So yes, we have got now 2 depots, and one of the things I want to do is to bring all the concrete that I want to reuse within the city as an aggregation. Not as the stone, because they are already worn out and you can reuse them as a stone anymore. So we have to break them, make their construction demolition waste from. And with this material, it's a good material to make bike path from it. So you don't need new sand, no new gravel, no less cement, very less cement, maybe 10% of the amount that you actually need for a new concrete bike path. So it's very efficient. So if you just pile up all the stones from a year that you have on a big heap, and then after a year you say, I've got a project. And if that heap is big enough, then that's your project, mister, and make me a bike path from my stones.
And is it cheaper then?
Yes, it's cheaper. It's even cheaper than an asphalt bike path.
There we go. I mean, you need to invest in all the stuff you've invested in, creating the whole system and all the rest of it, and that takes money. But once that you've had that initial cost, then it's cheaper after that.
You have to shift the money to different stakeholders, because you have all these little trees in one of my sheets. This is also how the municipality is organized. Every department has their own pot of money. And if I pile up my concrete, then I have to pay within the project to pile it up. And if you have a big pile of concrete, then you have free concrete for the bike path project. It's already paid for. So yeah, then the bike path is a very cheap project.
Yeah, and we need more bike paths, particularly here in the UK with gels systems, and totally.
It's a tourist attraction, the bike path in the Veluwe, in the area of Apeldoorn.
It's beautiful cycling there.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, we've got to 11:25, and I just want to say a huge thank you, Sanders, for that. It's brilliant. It really is. It's been really interesting and fun to listen to discussion. And also, I'd like to say that Sander does this project, but he also has a demonstrator house, which he's passionate about as well, which shows all the different, cuts back walls to show you the insulation. It has the whole kind of like energy efficiency stuff in your house. It has all the kind of different renewable energy and battery and all the rest of it. So if you're interested in that, then you can also connect with Sander. He can link you into a few.
Yeah. The municipality does it all.
They're going to love you now for that kindness. But anyway, we are going now to a break. So go and get yourself refreshed. And the third and last workshop session starts at 11:40. So I hope you've really enjoyed that. I know I have. Thank you all for coming, and see you at the next session. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.